So do I like Exorcist movies? You bet your sacrilegious ass. I guarantee you've never seen an Exorcist movie like today's pairing for the number 15 spot in M.L. Miller Fright's countdown for the best in horror from October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2025. And hand to God, Russell Crowe does not appear in either film. Deus Irae comes in at number 15. It was released on December 10th, 2024, and is streaming on Amazon Prime and Screambox from Bloody Disgusting and XYZ Films. It's directed and written by Pedro Cristiani. A disillusioned priest teams up with a trio of battle-weary exorcists to take on an amalgamation of the Catholic Church's Satan and Lovecraftian horror. I've seen too many exorcism movies to count. Most of them are bad imitations of The Exorcist with very little variation. This is mainly because the rites of exorcism are very specific and unfortunately well known to the public. So while there was some gravitas when the priests screamed, "The power of Christ compels you," and all of that jazz when it was first seen in The Exorcist, it fails to entertain upon repeated attempts. Argentina's new exorcist outing, Deus Irae, seems to know this, and instead of simply relying on Catholic lore, they've added Cthulhu into the mix, and it makes things feel a whole lot fresher. While it's a small tweak, this shift in perspective makes the film much more immersive, as, arguably, in certain horror circles, the Lovecraft mythos is as vast and detailed as some religions. So popping in some Yog-Sothoth and the occasional Cthulhu bomb here and there, and add some tentacles, and there you go. Your typical exorcism film about a jaded priest looking for redemption feels energized and imaginative. But that's not the only thing that makes this movie so exciting. The vivid cinematography and sheer creativity behind the various ways it tears a body apart is what makes Deus Irae such a standout. Fingernails flip backwards on their own, blood is strewn around like a lawn sprinkler on full blast. You'll see things in Deus Irae that you've never seen before in an exorcism movie. And by utilizing slow-mo and detailed close-ups, director Pedro Cristiani has delivered some of the most beautifully disgusting horror sequences that you're bound to witness. It's simply and brutally carnage-alicious. Now, there are a few things that make this one less than perfect. Mainly, there are time shifts and glimpses into characters' minds that prove to be distracting at best and utterly confusing at the worst. Characters burst into maniacal laughter for no reason, when laughter is the furthest reaction that is appropriate. Yes, this may be indicative of the process of these exorcisms taking its toll on the priests, and these are glimpses into their sanity slipping. I get that. But the fact that almost every character has a moment where they maniacally laugh in slow-mo feels repetitive and lacking in originality. It makes it much more difficult to understand what's going on in these gruesome scenes. The time slips do the exact same thing, sometimes going into the future, and in other times repeating scenes we've already seen. Deus Irae is unlike any possession horror you're bound to see. It is highly stylized, kind of like the Zack Snyder's 300 version of exorcism films. Some might mistake this for a lack of substance, but I feel there's a whole lot to appreciate, from the ornate costuming of the battle priests to the blasphemous desecration of religious iconography and the human body. There's a whole lot of the grungy, the gory, and the grotesque to enjoy with this one. Religious folk beware. This one's not for you. But for the rest of you heathens, check out Deus Irae. Today's Worth Noting takes the Exorcist genre and smacks it up, flips it, and rubs it down. Worth noting is Shadow of God. It was released on March 26th, 2025, and is streaming on Shudder. It's directed by Michael Peterson and written by Tim Cairo. Mason, played by Mark O'Brien, left the home of his abusive religious zealot father Angus, played by Sean Johnston, as a teenager and became a Catholic priest. Now he works for the Vatican, performing exorcisms, but after a botched ritual that leaves one priest dead, Mason finds out that a number of exorcists have been killed in recent weeks. Told to lie low, Mason returns to his childhood home where his half-sister Tanis, played by Jacqueline Byers, still lives and works as a psychiatrist. Upon his return, Mason is stunned to find out that his long-thought dead father, Angus, has inexplicably returned from the grave. But appearances can be deceiving, as Angus begins to show signs that he's possessed. Though he isn't cleared by the Vatican, Mason tries to perform an exorcism on Angus, only to find out his father isn't possessed by a demon, but God himself. Well, there's an unexpected twist, and while Shadow of God begins with all the bells and whistles that you usually see and hear from most exorcism films, all it takes is one twist like this to make things a whole lot more interesting. Little things like Mason using an upside-down cross during his exorcism, while simple, still resonates as a cool and unique idea. The same goes for casting God as the villain, which is often hinted at in philosophical discussions, but never in such a definitive way as outright taking over someone's soul. I got vibes of The Prophecy 1995 from Shadow of God, as there is even a brief appearance by Lucifer, played by Josh Krodas, that isn't as awesome as Viggo Mortensen's turn with the character, but is still pretty sweet. All in all, Shadow of God thrilled me because it skews the perspective of the typical exorcism film ever so slightly, and it works so well. It helps to have a strong cast. Mark O'Brien, who plays Mason, reminds me of Alessandro Nivola, which isn't a bad thing. He's got that burned out, slicked back, young Mickey Rourke hair going for him, which makes his sulking around all the more dramatic. O'Brien delivers an intense performance, and while he's delivering some lines that could come off as laughable, like reciting a new form of exorcism rites consisting of the exact opposite words, kind of like John Bovey.
Okay, I'm sorry guys, what exactly is a Bon Jovi opposite band? Is that like a Bon Jovi cover band?
No, if you like Bon Jovi, you would want a cover band. If you hate Bon Jovi, you want us.
But you dress like them and you call yourselves John Bovey.
Yeah, well, the similarities end there, Myers. Check this. 'Cause I'm an Indian. Indian! On a cotton horse I do not ride, and I'm unwanted. Unwanted! Alive and dead. Alive and dead. Alive and dead.
O'Brien still is able to pull these lines off. Helping O'Brien out is the equally talented Jacqueline Byers as Mason's half-sister and love interest, Tanis.
What?
Byers also appeared in another exorcism flick recently, Pray for the Devil, but is given much more to work with here. Another good performance is from Sean Johnston, who is convincing as both a religious zealot and as a man possessed by God himself. Finally, Adrian Ho offers up a memorable take as another zealot, this one seeking to be the one to usher God into the real world. The talent behind the camera is from some up-and-comers worth mentioning. Director Michael Peterson is behind the emotionally potent Knuckleball, starring Michael Ironside, and Tim Cairo wrote the amazing Lowlife, which needs to be seen by more people. It's no wonder Shadow of God feels so different coming from these two creatives. The film climaxes with another reverse exorcism.
One more can do!
Yeah, here's one from our Journey opposite band. We were called Staying Put.
This is our version. And so I come to you with closed legs.
And a scene ripped straight from Raiders of the Lost Ark. While some trippy visuals are used occasionally, this is a down-to-earth little horror film with ideas that never exceed the limited budget. Still, there's a lot of creativity in this script that shows that there's still life left in the exorcism genre. All you have to do is give the exorcism concept a creative tweak, a fresh perspective, and you get a take on the genre that feels lively and truly entertaining. Check out Shadow of God. I think you'll be surprised at how fresh it really is. As always, feel free to agree, disagree, or how about you play along at home and give me your own picks for your own favorite movies of the year. It's October, so let's talk horror. Come back tomorrow for the next level in the Best in Horror Countdown. Be sure to hit all of those pertinent bells and whistles down below, and you'll never miss a post. Happy Halloween, folks.